Hey everyone, it's Nico, and in this video, I'm going to be playing through some Iron Meat, and showing it off, and talking about it. And this game's not out quite yet. Thanks to Justin over at Retroware, I was able to play it a little bit early. So this will be out on September 26th of 2024. And if you can't already tell from the gameplay, this is heavily inspired by Contra. So it's a fast-paced run-and-gun shooter. There's different weapon pickups. It plays very arcadey, so I would compare this most closely to like Contra 3 Alien Wars on the Super Nintendo. So expect it to kind of lack some of the quality of life things that you might be familiar with from the recently released Contra Operation Galuga. And what I can say about this is that I initially intended to review this, and I guess technically this video is still a review, but since I didn't have a whole lot to really kind of criticize and break down and talk about like I usually do, I thought let's just talk about Iron Meat, and I'll show you some of my gameplay from my playthrough, because I played through the entire game in one sitting. Now, typically when I'm reviewing a game, I usually don't play for really long stretches because that gives me time to kind of document my thoughts and my opinions on what I played. And this isn't a terribly long game. It took me about an hour and 20 minutes or so to play through the entire game by myself. I didn't have anybody to play with. So that was on normal difficulty. And to me, as an experienced Contra player and one that I would say is pretty good at run-and-gun arcade-style games, that difficulty felt really fun to me. I almost got a game over, but not quite. I was able to clear the entire campaign without getting a game over, but that's not because the game isn't a challenge on normal. It definitely still is, but just so you can kind of know what to expect, it does have few different difficulty settings. So if you're super good at these style of games, there's a hard difficulty, which I did try. You have less lives, there's more enemies, it's much easier to die. So if you're super skilled at run and gun shooters, hard mode is here and it will challenge you. If you're like me and you enjoy these games and you like a fair challenge, normal's there, and I highly recommend you start there. And if you struggle, then you can go down to the easy difficulty. Now, I did try easy after already clearing it on normal, and to me, that was just far too easy for me. So if you're not good at these games, that's okay. Easy's there, and you'll still have a blast with it. Now, what I really liked about this game is the level designs, the enemy designs, the placement of these things, the variety across all of them just made it really enjoyable and satisfying. Like the guns in particular, some of them are similar to Contra's guns, you know, like there's a gun that's similar to the spread shot, there's the machine gun, and there's these various guns that you'll acquire. I don't necessarily know what all of them are by name, because I just know them by the letter that shows when they drop. But I found all of them to be super satisfying to use. And that's something that in the older Contra games wasn't really a thing. There was always a few guns that I hated. I hated the laser, I hated the flamethrower. Here, I really didn't mind which gun I had. I enjoyed using all of them. I enjoyed the B gun, which whatever that might be. It's kind of like a wave gun from Metroid. And I liked the spread shot was okay. It wasn't my favorite. And I enjoyed the machine gun as well. All of them. The guns are all fun to use. So if you play this, definitely experiment with the different guns. Don't just settle on one. Unless maybe you're not like me and you just like to be boring when you play. I don't know. I like to mix it up. So lots of variety with the guns. And the way they're handled is there are two, and you could switch between them with the L or the R button. If you pick up two of the same, it will upgrade that gun to level 2. If you die, you will lose the gun you have equipped. So that's definitely from the older Contra titles. If you happen to be carrying two guns and you pick up another one, it will replace the gun that you had equipped. It does not drop the gun you had so that you can switch back, like how Contra Operation Galuga did recently. So understand that if you make a mistake and accidentally pick up a gun, you will lose whatever you were carrying. I had that happen a few times. It didn't happen all the time, just a few, but be aware of that if you decide to play this, and you totally should because it's rad as hell. The pixel art is really well done, and all of the effects look really nice. Now, one concern I had, and if you're a Nintendo Switch owner, you probably have as well, is even pixel art games and indie titles, sometimes they kind of miss the mark, I guess we can say, when it comes to performance. And most of the time, that's due to optimization, and those games should absolutely run butter smooth. What I'm pleased to tell you is that I had no instances of any slowdown, any skips or stutters, none of that stuff on the Switch. This ran butter smooth. Now, I only played single player. I guess it's possible that with an additional player in the couch co-op that it could have that, but I highly doubt it. It just ran so well, so smooth. I didn't run into any bugs, glitches, crashes, none of that bad stuff. So this was an awesome part of Iron Meat, to not have to deal with any of that stuff that I have been dealing with increasingly over the Switch's lifespan, which is kind of unfortunate. Now, there's a whole bunch of levels that you'll play through, and the story is told to you in between these levels. I don't really think that I need to focus on the story because the core of this game is the gameplay, but there is a story here. It explains why there's slabs of meat that you're fighting and all that sort of stuff. That has to do with like a crooked scientist, and you're essentially trying to save the planet. So that gave me some serious like Doom vibes, you know, where you're like a Marine and you feel alone and under a lot of pressure from all these enemies you're having to fight. It gave me like that really badass feeling. Like I felt like a badass playing as my character and playing through this. It was just so much fun. The end of each level will have a boss fight. Some of these are multi-phase boss fights. They all have particular patterns and kind of tells on when they're going to do certain attacks. And the boss fights are so much fun. That was a huge highlight to me for this game because boss fights are super important to me. And I've played games that have had like really good gameplay, but then the boss fights were kind of bland. Here, they're all different, they're varied, and they're really enjoyable. When you do eventually beat Iron Meat, that sounded kind of funny, but I'm totally leaving it in there. There are cosmetics you can unlock, so you can customize your character. There's also achievements, which I think also unlock some of the cosmetics, and you can mix and match these, the different body parts, the head, the torso, things like that. And as far as I can tell, they're only cosmetics. They don't play any differently. There's no attributes, speed, anything like that, different gun types, nothing. I think they're strictly cosmetic. But playing through this was so much fun that I played through it again before making this video without even recording any of that playthrough, and I'm gonna play more of this. This is one of my favorite indie games that I've played so far this year, so RetroAware really killed it with this release. So this was Iron Meat. I played the Nintendo Switch version, but it's gonna be available on all platforms. It releases on September 26th of 2024. And I appreciate you watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun just talking, kind of gushing about this game because I really had a blast with it. So, like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on my next video. Have a good one.